wanted to know what to do with all of the carrot pulp without having to keep making crackers and things like that. I wanted something that I didn't have to dehydrate, and rather than throwing out all the pulp from all the organic carrots that I was buying, I thought, well, I need to turn it into something. So here we are making carrot cake. So let's get started. Okay, so first of all, I've got about 2 tightly packed cups of carrot pulp. So into the bowl there. Now, if you don't have a juicer and you don't do any juicings and won't get carrot pulp, what you can do is pop your chopped carrots into the food processor, and then just grind them down till they're really fine. And then what you can do then is pop them into a nut milk bag or a tea towel and give them a really tight, make sure it's a clean tea towel, give it a really tight squeeze and just get some of that excess juice out. You want the mixture to be a little dry, but not bone dry, but it makes for a firmer cake. Otherwise we'll end up with a bit of a carrot cake slop instead. Okay, so I've got that in there, and then I'm going to add half a cup of desiccated coconut, and this is an organic one. Be sure to check the ingredients. Excuse me. Often the conventional brands have sulfur dioxide added or some of the sulfites added in order to keep it white, and this can be a real irritant to a lot of people, especially if you've got a sensitive digestive system, or you're an asthmatic. Then you want to avoid those sorts of things. It's very unnecessary to put it in here. It's still a lovely white product. So in there, and I've got about 3/4 of a cup of soaked sultanas here as well. You can use raisins, they work beautifully. So I've soaked those for probably just about half an hour. And I'm just going to mix that through. Okay, so that aside. And in my food processor, I'm going to put my almonds. Now, almonds, I've got about probably 2 cups of almonds here, which is roughly, if you don't want to measure, around 4 big handfuls of almonds. So these are raw almonds, so into there. And pop that in there. Along with that, I'm going to add my spices. Now, I've got in here 6 teaspoons of cinnamon. I've got half a teaspoon of nutmeg and about 3 teaspoons of mixed spice. It does take a lot of spices because we're not cooking it through, so we can afford to throw a lot of spices into the raw dishes. So that's in there. And also I've got half a teaspoon of sea salt. Alright. So now we're going to just grind that up until it's like a fine breadcrumb. Okay, so we've finished that now. And pop this into my carrot mix here. So you can see it's quite a fine crumb. Pop that into the bowl. And we'll put that straight back on there because we're going to be blending up the wet part of the ingredients. So we just give this a quick mix through. So that mixed up, we'll just pop that aside again. And in here I'm going to put my dates, and I've got about 420 grams of dates. And I've soaked those for about half an hour as well. Be sure to remove the stones from those. Along with that, I'm going to put in my 1 cup of fresh pineapple. This just adds that extra element of flavour and sweetness to this dish as well. This is the organic molasses, and we're going to put 2 tablespoons of molasses in there. Now, molasses is a byproduct of sugar making. So when they get the sugar cane and they get the sugar juices from it, and it goes through all that processing, what's left is this kind of black, thick, syrupy stuff. And this is where all of the nutrients have gone, really. And so this is the good stuff. It's very strong in flavour, but it does contribute to a very authentic flavour in the carrot cake. And so it's a wonderful addition. It's also a great source of iron as well. Right, so now we're going to pop that into our mix. And that is our carrot cake mix all ready to pop into the tin. Okay. Every last morsel off here. My mother taught me to get every last little bit out of the bowl and the blender and whatnot, so I didn't waste anything. Okay, so it is going to be a fairly firm mix, and that's what we want. So you can see that here, it's still slightly crumbly, but as we keep mixing, it's going to really hold together. So you just want to kind of push it in with the spatula here or the scraper, and that will really help to get that wet mix around all of the carrot and coconut. Okay, so we've got that all mixed and ready to pop into our cake tin. Now, what I've done here, I've got my cake tin. It's a small to medium cake tin. It doesn't really matter what size it is. We're not aiming for perfection here. This is going to be delicious nonetheless. So you can use a square tin, whatever you find you've got in the cupboard works. That's cool. What I've done here is I've lined it just with a little bit of plastic wrap. Alternatively, you can use some baking paper. That will work well. It just makes it easier because what we're going to do afterwards, when it's set in the fridge, we're going to tip it out onto our plate and then we're going to ice it. Alternatively, you can use a spring-form tin, still line it, but that way you'll be able to just lift it out. Okay, so we'll pop our mix into the tin here. Just press that in using your spatula. Oh, that worked out a perfect size tin for this one. So there we go. We're going to pop that into the fridge now and let it chill for maybe about an hour or so. And then we're going to come back and make our beautiful cream cheese frosting. Okay, so now we're back. We're going to make the cream cheese frosting without the cream cheese. So in this recipe, I've got some cashews that I've soaked, and I've got about 1.5 cups of raw cashews. Now I've soaked those for maybe about an hour and a half. You can soak them for up to 2 hours, that's fine. And we're making this in the blender here, so a high-speed blender would be preferable, but as long as you've got a really good blender. So in there with the cashews, and I have in here about 3 to 4 tablespoons of pure maple syrup. Now instead of that, you may like to use agave syrup, and if you don't have either of those, then honey works nicely, but I think maple syrup's the nicest, some maple cream cheese frosting. So in there with that. And we've got some fresh lemon juice. Now you want the zest and juice of 1 fresh lemon, and be sure whenever you're using the zest, be sure to use an organic lemon, because they do put a lot of fungicides and things onto the conventional citrus fruits in order to stop the mold growth. Even better if you have a lemon tree. So in there with that, and the zest, and some nutritional yeast. This is going to give it that cheesiness. Now it's also called savoury yeast, and it can be found it's usually in flake form, and it can be found in a lot of organic stores or whole food supermarkets. Some health food stores will sell it as well, depending on whether or not they carry food. So in there with that, and just about 3 tablespoons of vanilla extract. So I'll pop about 3 tablespoons in there. It does seem quite a lot. And that's going to really give it that beautiful, authentic flavour as well. So now to blend it up until it's super smooth. Okay, so we have here our frosting. Now, if I'd used a light agave, it would be quite light looking. It would look more like the classic cream cheese icing. But I couldn't go past using some beautiful dark maple syrup. So put that aside. Now, here's my carrot cake that I've pulled out of the refrigerator. That's all chilled. I've just tipped that upside down. And now we're just going to pop our maple cream cheese frosting on top of our cake. So here we are with our beautiful carrot cake, our living carrot cake that is, topped with maple cream cheese frosting. So pop that in the fridge. It will last really, really well in the fridge, provided you don't eat it all at one time. It makes for a really decadent meal. It's very, very filling and very, very nutritious. And you are getting some vegetables in there too, which is really great. And don't forget to go and download that recipe from the Hot and Healthy program. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at info@foodinthenude.com.au. Enjoy!